What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Today we are talking about top tips for the month of June for all my bank anglers out there. This one is for you. I've gotten a lot of comments from bank anglers saying, hey, listen, like there's so much fishing on YouTube, but none of it really applies to the bank angler. So today we're doing June tips for bank fishing, all about my bank anglers. Will this work for you guys in boats and kayaks? Absolutely. But I'm really focused on my bank anglers today. Before we get into the video, I want to say thank you to all the new subscribers. Right now, we are pushing to 1,000 subscribers. We're so close, so I need your help. If you haven't hit that subscribe button yet, hit it now. Be that subscriber that helps us get to 1,000 subscribers, because when we do, I'm going to start introducing some giveaways to my videos and other fun things to my videos to help grow this channel and help you become better anglers. So thank you if you've subscribed already, and if you haven't yet, hit that button. Now let's get into my top bank fishing tips for the month of June. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back. All right, folks. So June is here. It is the best month in New York, especially for bank anglers. And as I talk through my tips, as I talk through some certain lures, I'm gonna have all the links in the description box below to everything that I use. So please use those links if you want to buy one of those things, because all that is affiliate links, and it really helps our channel to continue to grow. So use my affiliate links, help this channel continue to grow. The month of June is really good for bank anglers because it's not too hot, not too cold, but what's happening in the water is really helpful for us. Fish are now staying and pushing shallow because the shad have now spawned. Those little bait fish that our bass like to eat are spawning in those shallow areas by the bank, which means that bass are hanging out there waiting to ambush these bait fish. So because of that, we have a better chance and opportunity to catch more bass and bigger bass. Now, we are still going to aim for places of cover, stumps, falling down trees, weed lines, but we have a good opportunity here, even in open water, to catch bass, because those bait fish are all creeping up into those bays, into those pockets, and those are the places that whereas bank anglers want to look for. Also look for those points, right? Those are also excellent places to find bass for bank anglers this time of year. Now, all the baits I'm going to introduce have that kind of thought process in mind of bait fish, of slowing down, of hitting weed lines and hitting cover, all right? So let's get into the baits for this month. The first bait I'm going to use this month is this Mega Bass Star Sleeper. It's a great bluegill presentation. If there's bluegill in your body of water, use this bad boy. Now, it's primarily for smallmouth. Like, that's, I think, why it was designed. And I've caught a bunch of smallmouth on it, but I've also caught a bunch of largemouth on it as well. That hook is inside that fin, which makes this very weedless as well. So if you're on the bank, all right, and there's weeds in front of you, you can still fish this as a bait fish presentation and catch a lot of bass with this Mega Bass Star Sleeper. I will still fish this on a medium power spinning rod. I prefer to fish it on like a medium heavy bait caster, but a medium power spinning rod would do just fine, right? So this Mega Bass Star Sleeper, great start to a swim bait presentation for bait fish. If you want to make your bait stand out among all the other shad and bait fish in the area, you can add an underspin, just like this. It's a tactical underspin that came out last year, I think. It's a great way to add a little bit of flash to that bait to make it stand out, so that that bass attacks your bait instead of the other bait fish that are hanging out. I usually pair this with a stone largo shad or an exozone swammer. You may need to guess at what bait fish are around, or you may have a chance like I did last week where I was fishing and I caught a bass and it literally spit up on my stomach a bait fish, right, a shad, and I was able to match that size and color to one of my stone largo shads. I think it was albino, and it ended up being albino shad. So I was able to match the hatch, right? Match that shad presentation and catch more bass like that, right? But an underspin is a great way to add a little bit of flash and help your bait stand out among the shad down there. Now, if the water's a little bit choppy in cloudy conditions, or if the water is really dirty or muddy, flash may not be enough, and that dark sleeper may not be bold enough to stand out in that water. And that's when I'll go to something like a chatterbait mini max or a jackhammer. Spot Move is a great color. Those Storm Largo shads and exozone swammers are great trailers for this chatterbait mini max. I should go to 3-inch Storm Largo shad. But this stands out in the water because that mini max gives a slight vibration that will trigger that or alarm that fish that something's in the area, and they can hone in on that mini max with that vibration. So the mini max is another great bait fish presentation, shad presentation that can really attract bass to bite. And my last bait fish style presentation is going to be a spinner bait. Chartreuse and white will do it. will do it for you most of the times. I usually pair this with like a Kitech, electric shad Kitech, or an electric shad X-Zone Swammer. It is weedless. You can slow roll through the weeds. You can slow roll it across the bank or adjacent to the bank. The spinnerbait is like universal. Whether you're in a kayak, whether you're out fishing deep, the spinnerbait will get you a bite. My suggestion when fishing the spinnerbait is when that bass strikes, make sure it has it. Wait a second or two to set that hook, because sometimes the bass are biting at the blades and not the actual hook. So you really want to make sure that that bass has that spinnerbait bit before you set that hook. I'm shooting the video, but Topwater this time of year is also really starting to kick off, right? Topwater is really fun, a really fun way for to get a bass bite, but Topwater can be tricky from the bank. If I want to start off with Topwater, I'm definitely going with a whopper plopper. This is the Loon color. This is a chrome. A smallmouth, largemouth, love a whopper plopper. If I'm fishing largemouth, I might go with like the 110 as opposed to the 90. The 90 is a really small one, but they both catch bass. But the hard part about the whopper plopper and the hard part about even a popper, right? This popper is really good too. It's Matt Shad. This is the Mega Bass Pop Max. There's also a Mega Bass Pop X, that's a smaller version. I love these things. The only problem is with these treble hooks, if there's weeds that are coming up just to the surface, it might catch weeds, which is gonna impede that action. So I only fish in certain conditions. If there's open water, whopper plopper. Searching for bass, I'm going whopper plopper, I'm casting it and retrieving it and letting the bass try to find this whopper plopper. If there are like stumps around or laydowns, I'll fish the Pop Max, right? I'll fish this popper close to those stumps or close to that cover, because that I can keep in the strike zone longer. When I throw that Topwater out there, I can bloop it and let it sit around that cover a little bit longer in that strike zone and hopefully entice that bass to bite. Now, if you're in a situation where the weeds are too high, or maybe there's that cheese, which is like, the cheese is more like pollen or like whatever it is, it's like this green slime that's on top of all the water. If you're in that situation, the whopper plopper won't work and the popper won't work. It's gonna get caught up. And that is when the frog comes into play. This is the Jacko Gavacho, right? And this is a Kyera. These are both great frogs. My only hangup with frogs for beginners is that you really do need a heavy action rod, right? And like 50-pound test and a bait casting reel to really fish this the right way. It is also very hard to set the hook on a frog. It's a learned technique, right? So can you do it? Absolutely, anybody can do it. You might need a little more equipment. You might need some time to learn this technique, because with this frog, these hooks are stout. You need a heavy action rod to really get these hooks into that bass. But you also need to wait till that bass gets it and brings it down, right? So you have to wait even longer to set that hook. And for most beginners, we are used to, as soon as that bass goes, we're setting that hook and going. And a lot of times with what's going on underneath, you need that power from the heavy action rod to get that bass out of those weeds or out of that cheese. But frogs are probably the most versatile topwater for a bank angler, because you can fish them anywhere. Throw it by a stump. This Jacko Gavacho is a popper. Throw it by a stump and pop it. You can walk them, right? So these are probably the most versatile, but once again, you might need to upgrade some equipment in order to do that. I'm gonna leave my Topwater combo for frogs in the comments below or in the description below, so you can go get one if you need to. Now, that's a lot of moving baits, which also work out if you're in a kayak or if you're in a boat. But now, if I need to slow it down, I have a few options for if you just need to slow it down, the body's slow that day, here are a few options for you. The first one is my favorite technique of all time, the shaky head. I love the shaky head. These are the two baits that I use for shaky head: the net bait T-Mac and Bama Bug or June Bug, and then the Robo Worm, right? Aaron's Magic, Margarita Mutilator. These are the two shaky heads that I use. I actually just did a full-length video on a shaky head. I'm gonna put the card right here. So I won't go too much into depth with the shaky head, but just to know, fishing along weed lines, you can fish it around cover, but go see my in-depth video on the shaky head if you want to learn more about this specific technique. So another option, very versatile option for you guys, is a stick bait. Yamamoto Senko 6-inch or the Berkley Power Baits General, right? There's the 5-inch worm baby bass color. These are so versatile. If they're heavy, thick weeds there right by the bank, you can Texas rig that. If there's cheese on top, you can Texas rig it, right, and throw it out there. You can add a weight to it, throw it out there, right? So the stick bait is really versatile. If there's cover and it's open water, you want to wacky rig it, you can wacky rig it there too. So there's a lot of ways to use a stick bait. It's a great slow bait. I love using it, especially if I'm in a kayak, because I get to skip in the docks really easy and catch some bass under those docks undercover. The stick bait is a staple for the summertime, but it's a staple for bank fishers in general, and it works really well in the month of June. And last but not least is this bad boy right here, the Finesse TRD, the Ned Rig. The Ned Rig is probably the easiest bait to use In the month of June, it begins to shine because the bass are shallow. They're eating smaller bait fish, and this little small presentation is perfect for them. The Ned rig, I use the Finesse TRD from Z-Man, New Money Copper Truce, a 1/10 ounce Finesse Truce jig head is what I will use with that as well. In my regular Finesse lineup, right, 10-pound braid, 6 to 8 pound fluorocarbon, but this just does work. Especially if you have kids, there's really no bad way to fish a Ned rig. I give it to my kids. I let my kids just throw it out there, right? He'll just reel it back in, or sometimes they'll just let it sit. But there's really no wrong way to fish a Ned rig, which makes it perfect for kids. Now, my brother-in-law put me onto something last year with the Ned rig that I really like, and I'm gonna share the secret with y'all. I use this Flatworm on a Ned rig. So instead of putting this Finesse TRD on it, I'll put the Flatworm on that 1/10 ounce Finesse String jig head, and I'll throw that out there, and it almost mimics that light bait fish once again, but on a Ned rig. So you'll see it kind of flutter down, light line, and smallmouth especially will go get it. I've had a lot of success with smallmouth on this rig, but the Berkley Flatworm with the Ned rig is a great presentation, especially if the bite is really tough to catch bass. So those are my big baits for the month of June, and some tips for bank anglers as you're looking for spots, as you're looking for your terrain. I hope this video was helpful to you. If you haven't subscribed to the channel yet, subscribe now, because we are pushing towards 1,000 subscribers, and we are almost there. Thank you for all the comments so far. I've had a lot of just really encouraging comments from you guys just like me and girls just like me that really didn't have people to teach them how to fish, but now they're learning from this channel, this community. So thank you, and I will see you in the next video.